Hello everyone and welcome to the chemistry channel. And in this channel I will be uploading a series of videos explaining the concepts of chemistry, and this series of videos is primarily targeting the advanced level students around the world, but it doesn't mean that if you are not an advanced level student you cannot benefit from these videos. So no matter what syllabus, no matter what curriculum you follow as an advanced level student, and also it doesn't matter if you are not an advanced level student, you may find useful information to improve your chemistry knowledge in this series of videos. So stick with the channel, and I will be explaining these concepts of chemistry right from the most fundamental basic principles to some advanced chemistry principles. It will take some long time to explain some of these principles because I want everyone, I want all of you to understand. Some may have good intelligence and will be maybe quite capable of grasping the concepts of chemistry quite easily, but there are others who need time, need more explanation to understand some principles. Therefore, this is not a rushing course. This is not a rushing chemistry course. This is a very slow, very highly detailed chemistry course. And to start the proceedings of this series of lectures, I thought it would be quite nice to introduce these terms to you: matter, element, atom, molecule, compound, and ion. Now, the problem with these terms is that sometimes it could be quite confusing to differentiate the meanings of some of these words. For an example, someone might find difficulty in differentiating between an element and an atom. Maybe differentiating between matter and element, maybe differentiating between a molecule and a compound. So all these words have a unique meaning, but they are quite confusing at times. So I thought it would be better to explain explain the meanings of these terms before delving into any concepts of chemistry. So let's start with matter. Matter. Now, matter can be defined as anything that has a mass, and that occupies some space. Anything that has a mass and that occupies some space. We can define matter like this. For an example, if you take a metal ball, and if you place this ball inside of a container, which is barely large enough to fit this ball, you will not be able to place another ball of the same size in this container while this ball is occupying this container. Now that means this ball, which has some mass, you can weigh this to get the mass. This ball, which has a mass, have occupied some space within this container, and therefore we cannot place anything else. Any other similar sized object in this container. Now, not only inside the container, if you place this ball on a tabletop, still you will not be able to place something else at this very place. if you want to place something else at this place, then you will have to remove this ball from this position. Now, therefore, we can say that this ball is matter. This ball is matter. Similarly, everything that has some mass and also that occupies some space can be called as matter. Now, the term void can be considered as the opposite of matter. Where there's void, there's no matter. Where there's matter, there's no void. Now, this way we can define matter, and next we'll see what elements are. So, what are elements? Elements are the things that make up matter. We can define elements as what makes up matter. For an example, if we take water, which is of course matter, water is matter because it acquires some space as well as it has some mass. So if we take for an example water is made with hydrogen plus oxygen. So these are the two elements with which water is comprised of. So for another example, if we take sand is made with silicon and again oxygen. So these are the two elements with which sand is made up of. So this way, if we take the periodic table, we'll be discussing about the periodic table in future videos. So don't worry about that too much for the time being. If we take the periodic table, you will find 118 of these different elements such as hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, iron, copper, aluminium, uranium, rubidium. Likewise, you will find 118 different elements. So elements are what makes up matter. And the concept of atom should be explained with the concept of element. So next we will see what atoms are. Atom. What is an atom? An atom can be defined as the smallest building block of matter. Let's say we have a brick wall, and the brick wall is consisting of bricks which are laid on each other and cemented together with a mortar. So if you consider this entire wall as matter, these individual bricks can be called as thought analogously to atoms. The entire wall is matter and each brick is an atom. Furthermore, if we take the concept of element to this example as well, I'll draw a separate wall here. Let's say we have two types of bricks, red ones. We have red bricks and we have yellow bricks. Now, if you have a wall that is constructed with red bricks and yellow bricks, this time two types of bricks, then let's consider the analogy here. Now, in this example, in this kind of a situation, the entire wall can be called as matter in analogy, and individual bricks are atoms. So what does the color mean? The color means different elements. Color elements. There are red bricks, there are yellow bricks. So red bricks and yellow bricks are different elements. As a whole, if we consider both type of bricks, individual elements, individual pieces, I should say, individual pieces of this wall can be thought as atoms. The color says different elements. The entire wall is can be thought as matter, and individual bricks can be thought as atoms. I think this analogy makes things quite clear for you, and therefore let's move on to the next. Let's move on to the next term I want to explain to you. Molecule. Now we need to understand the difference between a molecule and an atom. So what is a molecule? A molecule can be defined as two or more atoms. A collection of two or more atoms can be considered as a molecule. Similarly, an ion can be defined as an atom or a group of atoms, maybe two, maybe more than that. Group of atoms having a charge. So for an example, for a molecule, we can write H2O, the water molecule. The water molecule is composed of a collection of two or more atoms. Precisely, two atoms, or rather three atoms, two or more. So 3 is valid. 3 atoms. Similarly, glucose, whose chemical formula is C6H12O6, has 24 atoms. And carbon monoxide, whose formula is CO, has just 2 atoms. More than one atom, then we can call it as a molecule. Now similarly, if an atom has a charge, for an example, if an iron atom has a charge, let's say 2 plus charge, then we can call this as an ion. According to the definition, an atom or group of atoms having a charge. The charge is the main difference here. And also a group of atoms, we can consider sulfate ion as an example, SO4 2 minus. You will come across these things in the future, so don't worry too much about these things if you are not familiar with these things. This is a negative ion This is a positive ion. Now in chemistry, positive ions are called as cations and negative ions are called as anions. So we use two different terms to explain positive and negative charged ions. So it doesn't matter if it contains just one element or two different types of elements. Positive, if it is positive, it is a cation, and if it is negative, it is an anion. Now we will see the meaning of the term compound. Now, a compound can be defined as a group, two or more, a group of atoms, belonging to different elements, belonging to different elements. For an example, H2O, again formula of water, has two elements in it, hydrogen and oxygen. So this can be called as a compound. For another example, carbon dioxide, CO2, can be considered as a compound because it contains carbon and oxygen, two oxygens and one carbon. It doesn't matter what the ratio among these two is. The only thing we consider is that it contains two different elements. Therefore, this is also a compound. If we take an example like oxygen gas, O2, this is not a compound. This is not a compound. We can't consider this as a compound because it just has two of its own atoms, the same element, two oxygen. So we can't consider this as a compound. This is just an element. The only thing is it has two atoms rather than one atom. So I think my explanations have cleared out any doubt you had about differentiating the meanings of these terms. It is very important to have a very clear understanding about these terms if you are to successfully follow a chemistry course, because if you don't have a quite good understanding about basic things, then you are definitely going to have a hard time understanding harder concepts. From a next video onwards, we will be discussing about the concepts in chemistry, starting from the very simple concepts like the structure of an atom. And for this video, this is all. Hopefully you got some idea about confusing terms. See you in the next video, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video, as well as press the bell icon so you can get notifications when I upload the next video. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.